Good afternoon. It's Locks to Read. It's Locks to Hear from Locks to Read. This is just a quick video to talk about the Inklings, which is related to the decision of a very famous booktuber to set up a sort of discussion literary reading group called Inklings, and why I'm unnecessarily annoyed by it. Now, if you don't know, the Inklings was a group of academic friends. They weren't all academics, but they were mostly academics in Oxford in the 1930s and 40s, who used to meet on a Tuesday morning in the Eagle and Child pub in Oxford to talk about, well, just to have a friendly chat about literature and what they were working on. Most famously, J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were members. There were a lot of other people involved, including Charles Williams, who is possibly the writer of the most weirdest books, who had a very esoteric occult view of the world, and it sort of emerged out of a sort of equally loose group where they would translate old Icelandic works into English. It would be like a round robin thing where the person with the most familiarity with old Icelandic, which was Tolkien, would translate a chunk of it, and then they would sort of hand it round and work their way down with people who knew less, and out of that sort of came the Inklings. But it's also really a sort of throwback to Tolkien's a little group that Tolkien had when he was at school with his four friends, with his three friends. There were four of them in total, two of whom were killed in the First World War, and it's sort of part of Tolkien's whole sort of male friendship, love of male friendship. Now, I was fascinated by Tolkien and the Inklings for a long time, and I read Humphrey Carpenter's book, which is on the Inklings, which is called The Inklings, which is fascinating, and I recommend. I'm pretty sure it's still in print. Humphrey Carpenter also read a biography of Tolkien and a biography of C.S. Lewis, I think, both of which I've read, both of which I suspect are still in print as well because of the people they are about. And I was fascinated by Tolkien and read everything I could get my hands on about him, and but now my Tolkien collection is reduced to those. Well, the Hobbit is here somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But that's the Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion, and it's a fascinating group of people, and I loved, and for some reason the decision by this YouTuber to name their group Inklings has made me angry on the behalf of the original Inklings. To me, it demonstrates a certain lack of creativity. It's like you couldn't even come up with your own name for a reading group. You had to steal somebody else's. Now it might be the name of a reading group of men long dead, but it's still somebody else's name. And I also, at some point, I suspect there will be merchandise or some way of monetizing Inklings. So is he going to copyright Inklings? Is he going to copyright somebody else, a name used by other people? That's why it frustrates me and annoys me. So I've made this short video to say, look, the original Inklings, great, and I don't have a problem with famous people, big YouTubers, whatever, setting up reading groups. Anything that encourages people to read and talk about what they're reading is great by me. But for heaven's sake, pick your own bloody name. Right, and that's the end of this rant. Sorry for not doing videos for ages. Life is difficult for me at the moment, and I found it hard to read. I am getting back to it gradually. It doesn't help that I've probably made the unwise decision to get deeply involved in 3 large non-fiction books at the same time. But I am definitely going back um, to doing a regular updates on this channel, partly because this whole Inklings thing has really got under my skin. The end. Have a good day.